It all started with a simple mistake. I was driving back late at night after a long meeting and took a detour down a 2-lane road through the forest. Supposed to be a shortcut, but it turned into a nightmare.
A forest detour. That already sounds like trouble waiting to happen.
Right? The first tire blew out after I hit something sharp. I cursed and pulled over. While I was swapping the spare, I noticed something odd. The silence. It was deafening. No crickets, no wind, just my own movements echoing in the dark.
That kind of silence makes you feel like you're not alone.
Exactly. Back on the road, another tire went flat. Then the third. I sat there, staring at my dashboard in disbelief. Who gets 3 flats in one night?
That's not just bad luck. That's a warning.
I had no signal on my phone, so I decided to wait until morning. As the hours dragged on, I began to hear strange sounds. A faint rustling outside, the creak of branches swaying when there was no wind.
And then you heard something, didn't you?
Yes. At one point, I thought I heard a voice. I rolled down the window and called. Hello. But there was only silence. Then, I noticed the passenger door was unlocked. I was sure I had locked it.
That's chilling. Something, or someone, was there.
I tried to dismiss it as exhaustion, but then I saw it. A piece of paper tucked under the wiper blade. I stepped out and picked it up. In messy handwriting, it read 3 tires. 3 chances. Don't waste them. I spun around, shining my flashlight into the forest, and saw nothing but endless trees.
That's more than a prank. It sounds like a threat.
I locked the doors and sat back, trying to rationalize it. But as the minutes passed, I felt watched. My eyes darted to the rearview mirror, convinced someone was lurking behind me.
That must have been terrifying.
Then, suddenly, the horn blared. I jumped, hitting my head on the roof. My hands hadn't even touched the wheel, and my keys were still in my pocket. Next, the headlights turned on by themselves, illuminating the road, and a blurry human-like shape standing at the edge of the beam, shrouded in mist. I blinked, and it was gone.
No, that's like something out of a horror film.
I panicked. I tried starting the car, but it wouldn't turn over. In my rearview mirror, I saw movement again, closer this time, like someone creeping out of the woods. I jumped out and ran, leaving the car behind. I don't remember how far I ran until I finally collapsed by the side of the road, gasping for breath.
And then you woke up.
I did. At sunrise, I returned to where my car had been parked. It was gone. So was my phone, my wallet, everything. A trucker later found me wandering, dazed and covered in dirt. When I called the police, they found no trace of my car.
3 tires. 3 chances. And you wondered what would have happened if you'd wasted that last chance. Some roads, they're best left untraveled.
All right, let me tell you another one. This one is straight from my friend. A story that still sends shivers down my spine.
Don't you say this with almost all your stories. The last one was almost not bad, but this has to be a good one.
Back in 1998, my friend moved into a hostel near his college. It was cheap, close to his campus. A typical place for a young student starting out. That's where he first met Sarah. She was from a different department, and they bumped into each other during lunch. Her laugh, it lit up even the dullest corner of the cafeteria, he said.
Sounds like a classic meeting. So they hit it off.
They did, instantly. Sarah wasn't just beautiful, she was smart and curious. They started meeting regularly at a little cafe, a cozy, tucked-away spot where the owner or anyone barely noticed them, capturing moments that my friend thought he'd cherish forever. He even kept a printed photo of her in his wallet, a keepsake of brighter days. But then, as exams approached, Sarah became distant. One day, she said, "We should focus. Let's take a break until the exams are over." And just like that, she vanished from his life. No meeting, no interaction, nothing.
This must be the moment when she disappears, right?
After waiting for almost a month, My friend started asking around. Strangely enough, students in her department hadn't seen her. When he went to the hostel, the warden avoided his eyes and mumbled, "I don't know who you're talking about." Desperate, he turned to an older professor. But the moment Sarah's name came up, the professor's face darkened. He frowned and then said, "I don't know her. Leave me alone."
That sounds so off. What did he do next?
He reported her missing to the police, giving the hostel room number she once mentioned, room 195. The police initially treated it as a routine case until the officer investigating pulled him aside and said, "The room you described." He hesitantly said that it's been locked for years now. Sarah was a student here a decade ago. She took her own life in that room.
Suicide.
My friend refused to believe that and swore that he spent weeks her just a month ago. Determined, they returned to the hostel that very evening. The warden reluctantly gave key to the police officer. The officer, and he pushed open the room. The air inside was stifling, dust and cobwebs everywhere, as if time had stood still. That night, sleep eluded him. In a restless dream, he saw Sarah. She was in pain as she whispered, "Search the room." The next day, he went back. Almost fought with the warden when he asked for the key again and went inside the room. There, near a window, he discovered a loose floorboard. Beneath it was a small tin box containing faded photographs, a blood-stained scarf, and a letter addressed simply to my dearest parents.
What did the letter say?
In the letter, Sarah wrote about a man, a professor who had harassed her relentlessly. She warned that no body listened to her and that if anything happens to her, know that it wasn't her choice. My friend was horrified. He took the box straight to Sarah's parents, who lived in the outskirts of town. Her mother wept while her father, filled with restrained anger, admitted, "We knew about the professor, but no one listened. They claimed it was suicide." The police reopened the case, confronted with mounting evidence, including a photograph of Sarah arguing with that old professor in the campus courtyard. He finally broke down. He confessed that in a violent confrontation, he'd pushed her. Panicked professor then staged her suicide to cover it up.
So they finally got justice.
Yes, the professor was arrested. But for my friend, the loss was bittersweet. One night, weeks later, he dreamed of Sarah again, this time in the cozy cafe where they'd met. She smiled softly and said, "Thank you, you gave me my voice back." When he awoke, he found her photo, the very one she'd given him, lying on his desk. But something was different. Her expression was peaceful, as if she had finally found rest. He processed the photos he had taken back with her in the cafe, where they used to meet, but the photos showed her absence, like she had vanished from those memories altogether.
That's heartbreaking and haunting at the same time.
Exactly. He keeps that photo she left as a reminder that even the quietest voices need to be heard. Sarah's story remains a haunting testament to the injustice that can hide behind silence.
We've walked through haunted forests and uncovered secrets hidden in forgotten rooms. But now I have a thought for the audience. Do you really believe these events could be more than just tales?
Let's leave this on them to decide. But remember, every shadow, every whisper, could be a reminder that some mysteries are closer than you think. After that chilling story of Sarah's murder, where nothing seemed quite as it appeared, should I tell you one from a girls' hostel?
Yes, please go ahead. I am ready to be terrified again.
This is a story about a corridor that holds its own mysteries and a young woman named Emma, who refused to believe in ghost stories until the night changed her. Emma wasn't one to believe in ghost stories, but her hostel had a reputation. Nestled at the edge of the campus, the building was old, its corridors long and shadowy, and its history murky. Others whispered about the corridor of moving shadows, doors that creaked open on their own, and soft footsteps when no one was there.
So, she just did not believe in all that, right?
Exactly. Logical, practical, and brave. Or so she thought. Her roommate Annie, however, was easily unnerved. "I don't care what you think, Emma. This place is wrong," Annie would warn. Emma would laugh it off, teasing her about an overactive imagination. But one cold, quiet night, everything changed. Emma had been studying late in the common area and returned to their room around midnight. As she turned the corner, she saw Annie standing just inside their door and trembling. "Emma, please come with me to the washroom," Annie pleaded. Emma, though skeptical, decided not to tease her this time. Together, they walked the long corridor, its dim lighting casting eerie, flickering shadows.
This must be the time when something happens.
The washroom was at the far end of the hallway, near a door that led to a small park outside. Annie stepped inside while Emma leaned against the wall, waiting. Minutes ticked by. Growing impatient, Emma called out, "Yo, Annie, are you done?" But there was no response. When she knocked, the door creaked open. It wasn't locked.
And then she discovered something.
Exactly. Emma peeked inside only to find the washroom empty. Her heart pounded. Annie had vanished. There was no other exit. In a panic, she stepped back into the corridor. And that's when she saw her, Annie, sitting on one of the swings in the small park just outside, her back turned.
What? Annie was outside? That can't be real.
Emma's breath quickened. She walked cautiously toward the park, calling out, "Annie, what are you doing out here?" As she drew near, her stomach dropped. Annie was swaying on the swing, but her face was wrong. Ashen, her eyes wide and vacant, her expression void of life.
That's horrifying.
Fear surged through Emma. She bolted back to her room, heart pounding, and burst through the door and stopped dead in her tracks. Annie was there, lying in her bed, asleep. Emma's hands trembled as she grabbed the doorknob and slammed the door shut behind her. She couldn't understand what she had just seen. Was it a dream? A trick of the light? She stared at Annie's peaceful face, her steady breathing, and felt her panic rise again. In a state of panic, she raced to the hostel counter and woke the caretaker, a kindly elderly woman. Breathless, she recounted the events, her words tumbling out in a rush.
What did the caretaker say?
With a sigh, the caretaker listened, her expression unreadable. Together, they returned to Emma's room. Annie woke up, rubbing her eyes groggily, and listened to Emma's story with a confused expression. "Emma, I haven't left the room all night," she insisted. "I was sleeping. You must have imagined it." But Emma knew what she'd seen. She couldn't explain it, but it was no dream. The caretaker then revealed that Emma wasn't the first to see something strange in that corridor. Over the years, others had reported a girl on the swing, mysterious shadows in the hallway. The entity, she said, "You never harms anyone." "Never harms anyone!" Emma repeated, her voice incredulous. The caretaker shrugged. "Whatever it is, it's just there." But even with that reassurance, Emma felt terrified.
And after that night?
That night, Emma lay awake, ears straining for any sound from the corridor. The memory of Annie's lifeless face, swaying in the moonlight, haunted her every thought. The next morning, she avoided the corridor entirely, though the chilling image would never leave her.